Going live. Happy Friday. You're on with Stosh tonight. Hopefully somebody's out there to gab with. For the hell of it, it's Open Vlog Friday. I'm going to be gabbing about pop culture, art, and the occult at random and things like that. So hope somebody jumps in. This is just off the cuff. A favorite topic to waste time on the internet is this occultism and pop culture. Like you may have seen, there's a million YouTubes on Eyes Wide Shut, for instance. That is loaded with intense occultism on every level. Nick Nightingale, just the names, it's based on I think it's based on a Czech guy's book. Sorry, somebody's gabbing in here. Yeah. Oh, I lost my one freaking viewer. That's all right. Wait a minute. Yeah, I'm just looking this up. Yeah, so it's based on I think it's based on a book, Dream Story, published in 1926. So the film is based on that novella. It talks about the adventures of Dr. Bill Hartford after his wife says she's having an affair. He meets up with an old chum. Remember that scene? Dr. Nick Nightingale. And he gets the guy's like, you got to come to this party because the women are so incredible. And he infiltrates the masked orgy of an unnamed secret society. Actually, oh, I didn't know this. It says the film's production at 400 days holds the Guinness Book record of the longest continuous film shoot. That's really weird. I've seen numerous people claim that Stanley Kubrick revealed too many secrets of the secret societies, therefore he was eliminated. I don't know. After filming 400 days in a row, maybe he just passed out and died of fatigue. I don't know. Or he was eliminated, much like the Mozart. There's a movie on Mozart. It is the same thing. There are people who say that Mozart, it's the same thing as the Stanley Kubrick, that he revealed too many secrets of the secret societies, and therefore he was eliminated. There was a film, Amadeus, about Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Some people say if you take that Twilight special language, it would be Mo-Oz art. So in the Magic Flute, which is wild, it's said to have revealed too many of the Masonic secrets as well, and he was eliminated. Blah, blah, blah. Don't hesitate to see the movie with F. Mary Abraham, who's great. Tom, what's his name? He spells his name Hulse as Wolfgang. I think he was in Animal House. The Mozart movie has a lot of those masquerade mask, just as Eyes Wide Shut with its famous orgy scene. So if you're into that idea that Mozart was eliminated by the Brotherhood, check that film out and then, read up on it. I did, of course, one of my weird slideshow videos on that, which I will leave in the liner notes. Moving on. Dealing with this subject of pop culture and the occult, or I would highly recommend Turn Off Your Mind, the Mystic Sixties, and the Dark Side of the Age of Aquarius. This is if you're into that stuff, like Charles Manson, Brian Wilson, Timothy Leary, What Happened to the Doors, Jim Morrison. If you're obsessed with John Lennon, all these cultural icons and the backstories of them being involved in occult and creepy stuff. This book really ties a lot of that together. Turn Off Your Mind. Very, very intense. He goes into the occult nature of the X-Men. The X-Men. His own group, which he played bass for, Blondie, is mentioned. Rosemary's Baby, which is weird because it's Rosemary's Baby, the Dakota building where Lennon was killed, the creepy Dakota in New York City, where Lennon was murdered by Mark David Chapman. It's interesting. He goes in. It's interesting. He mentions the X-Men as being the obsessed one, because that was always. I thought that was sort of secondary in popularity, but I guess it's you have the Phoenix, which is an obvious connection to imagery of the Freemasonry and different secret societies, and that's one of the main characters of X-Men. H.P. Lovecraft was in the mix. There was an occult revival that, and the book Morning of the Magicians by an author I forget was a big hit. People got into the tarot, they got into the I Ching. Obviously, the Doors were loaded with mojo talk, voodoo. I heard it referred to in both ways, and witchcraft. I think obviously Sharon Tate was allegedly heavy into it, and Manson, when he had his mind basically heavily mind-controlled, influenced, or murderous hippie bands, the family instructed the family to do something witchy when they, some would say, ritually murdered Sharon Tate. So, particularly, I think a lot of this stuff emanated out of the San Francisco area. It's Friday night. Why isn't people on? Are you guys out? I thought this was an awesome topic. Maybe people had enough of this crap last night talking about the coronavirus. So the 60s was mystical. There's a wild story about a home that the Stones, some would say the actual name Rolling Stones has to do with secret societies and Freemasonry, which is interesting. The Beatles definitely were involved in occult stuff, probably more than people would care to know, because they're probably seen as just an absolutely nice bunch of chaps from Liverpool. But either knowingly or not, these phrases like obladi, oblada, obladi, and all that were tied to their music. And the British power bands were definitely allegedly into it. Most overtly the Led Zeppelin. Tour dates. I think he goes into that alleged accusation. I don't remember if that's in this book, but it's just a huge. I don't have to look for, over 400 pages. Very, very interesting. The other, he goes into the heavy influence of Conan, not just H.P. Lovecraft, which is obviously overt Kabbalah and different magic, but Conan, Robert Howard, also is heavy into the occult. He fights the Set, the cults of Set. That's even, remember that part? Two standards, sneaks, hit me. Definitely, if you've only seen the new Conan with the Aquaman guy, who I forget his name, then and you haven't seen the old school one, see that, the one with Arnold. He's much better. Look out! Look out! Who is out there? What is up? Yes, the coronavirus. Maybe people have the coronavirus. Hey, stay inside and chat. So that was going on. The influences, the big revival in the occult came at the same time as these hit groups. I think now that the era of the supergroup has kind of gone by. Now it's just very attractive women to me sing, and they're overwhelmingly, the popularity of them is amazing. And there's not as many super groups now that sell out. Ozzy Osbourne, and those were directly, it was later on. Carlos Castaneda, who had his guru and taking of the different peyote and ayahuasca and whatever you have, it was I think he admits it was made up, but who knows? Maybe it wasn't. It was huge. Anton LaVey in San Francisco with his Satan group. I remember that used to be a big deal. Anton LaVey is in the Eagles double album. In between, you can see him. Obviously, Aleister Crowley, a huge influence on the rock groups, deliberately to tantalize and change and process the group mind. There's something that he didn't talk about that I kind of think was a weird thing. It was kind of a British imperium of rock and roll music that existed. I mean, they dominated. There was the cream Eric Clapton, Ginger Baker, and Jack Bruce. They were the cream. We took the blues music and we were the cream. Smashed America. Some would consider them the first heavy metal group. Heavy metal, the word heavy metal coming from the Naked Lunch guy, Burroughs, who quoted the nothing is true as everything is permitted. Isan Isaba, the assassins, the assassins. I think more of them is made up than actually occurred, but that was the group that initiated their initiates as great assassins with and they prepared them and used hashish and promises of that's a lot of that lore of the 72 virgins. I think I'm going on a limb here, but that's not a typical Islamic promise all the time necessarily. That's sort of particular to that story. And it's been taken up as part of what you might call the clash of civilizations that has been temporarily put on hold with the coronavirus. Hesse? Oh, they were definitely influenced by Hermann Hesse. Conan fought Set. My point with that is Robert Howard knew that occult stuff probably near to the level maybe of even a H.P. Lovecraft. They knew what they were talking about. Some guys take it kind of far. Kenneth Grant says that whether he knew it or not, H.P. Lovecraft was in contact with entities, that the old ones are real, the deep ones, the old ones, and you know, that he really was in contact with entities. There's with shows like The Craft and the Tolkien are directly involved with occult stuff. The Matrix is said to be loaded with that that it transforms you very deeply. I would say the reason why it was a hit was because it was a martial arts film. Hold on. I'll be back for part 2 shortly. Bear with me, folks. I'm going to sign off, and I will be back with you for part 2 of tonight's vlog, The Occult in Pop Culture. For now, signing off.